Hey people, this is Niaz talking. Now, the title of this video is basically, why do I talk about black history? Is it even important? And the answer is, yes, it's very important. And there are several reasons why, so we'll start with the most obvious, Marcus Garvey. What did he say? He said, a people without knowledge of the history is like a tree without roots. Now I'm going to take that to its logical conclusion. If you have a tree without roots, what happens to it? It dies. Yes, and what do we see happening to black people today? Throughout America, throughout Europe, throughout Africa, throughout Brazil, where we see the extrajudicial police killings, or in Africa, where we see the Chinese starting a new wave of colonization. And for those of you who are very much into your Bible, the Hebrew Israelites, what does it say under Ecclesiastes? There is nothing new under the sun. Everything that is happening has happened before. And let's start with another thing. Let's start with George Orwell. Now, many people don't read anymore. People only understand Big Brother as some term people use when they talk about dictatorship, but I've read it. I've read it several times, and that's a book I want you to read. 1984 by George Orwell. Get that book and read it. I want you to understand it. In the book, there's a man called Winston Smith, and his job is in the records department. His job is just to rewrite records over and over and over again to whatever the government tells him to. You understand? Whatever happens, if the government says it's now at war with East Asia instead of Eurasia, all the records will be written to reflect that. If the government is now at war with Eurasia instead of East Asia, that's what's going to happen. If whoever controls the past controls the present, who controls the future, or something along those lines. If I could find the quote, I'll put it up. And anyway, if you don't understand the past, then you can't understand your present. Everything that is happening is a result of a long, long line of events. It didn't just happen. And then people say, why is this happening? Because you don't understand your history. You don't understand why you got to this point. And I'll give you some other things. We see this forgiveness trend. Now, I don't, just to go off on a little tangent, I was talking at work with a brother who grew up in England, but his parents were from Nigeria, and I kept trying to talk to him about Professor Black Truth and about what's happening worldwide to black people, and one of the things he kept saying was, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. I'm like, what are you talking about? And this is one of the reasons why I don't approve of Christianity, or at least in its current form. I don't think it's been very good for black people. It's psychologically screwed them. I personally call it psychological castration, this obsession with forgiveness. Now, it's not to say that Christianity is bad for black people altogether. I mean, Ethiopia is one of the longest going Christian nations, and it was the only nation that maintained its independence. I say that what history has taught us is that a religion that is given to you by your enemies can never free you until you understand it and take charge of it in a way that is your own. This is one of the things that Professor Black Truth talked about when John Henry Clark went to Senegal. You couldn't make any headway with the Senegalese because they loved Islam. They love it more than they do in Saudi. When the azan goes, everything stops. And one of the things I was reading up on Wikipedia about Senegal and Islam is that they took Islam and they made it their own. They made it a part of their culture. They venerated it. And it became part of Senegal. So when foreigners came in and tried to disrupt the Africans' way of life, they couldn't, because Islam was so firmly woven into Senegalese way of life. It didn't make any headway. I mean, Professor Black Truth once said, really quick, you try and talk about Jesus and all that, and then wonder why it's not making headway, because now he's going over to pay Salat. And some people often laugh at me when I talk about black history. They think it's a joke. I think it's the absolute most serious thing, because only by understanding the past can we understand the present. And, for those who are the Hebrew Israelites who talk about, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the Hebrew Israelites, they often narrate this passage from the Bible that says 2/3 or 60% are not going to make it, and I actually believe them. I don't think everyone's going to make it. And what I would say is that we need to learn from the past. We can't be trying to change the world with a mass of people. We don't need everybody. We just need the people who are committed to change, who are committed to improvement. The vast majority of the population, not just the black population, just the population in general, do not care about the issues. You tell them that the government is trying to kill them or whatever, or whatever, they'll just dismiss it as a conspiracy theories. When you talk about fluoride in the water, it's just crickets. We're not going to get change from them. They will be sheep and allow themselves to be led to the slaughter, so to speak. And I don't want to go on and on, but one of the things I will talk about history is, in this modern society, we have a lot of issues with colorism. We have people who value lightness or being biracial. We just look at the Serena Williams debacle. She married that racist Reddit owner just so that she could have a biracial child. And how's that working out for you, Serena? Oh, it ain't. If we understood history, if we understood what our ancestors actually believed, they would understand that they would never value becoming lighter or mixing or race mixing so that they would have lighter children. Like I said, my ancestors came from East Africa, and I'm about, an orange, reddish brown. And you know how it is with us, with all those that melanin, when we go out in the sun, it feels good, doesn't it? Like the sun's charging you up. Do you know I read from Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of Black Civilization, the ancient Egyptians believed that God had blessed them with their blackness. Yes, he blessed them. It was a sign of their God's love for them that he made them black. They looked down upon lighter-skinned people and people who were mixed. If you understood who you were and what you actually came from, you would never talk about skin bleaching or marrying a lighter-skinned person so you have biracial or lighter children. Anyway, this is just a short topic. I just wanted to explain about the ideas of history. I hope this stream of consciousness has been of interest to any of you. Anyway, comment, rate, share, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, leave the PayPal in the description. Make sure to turn on notifications. Peace, family.